Hello everyone, Sheldon with iHardware here, back with another video. So this is kind of a surprise video actually. I wasn't originally planning on doing this, but when the system was brought into work for recycling, I decided I had an idea to put it to use as an office style system. So I'm going to get into that in a second, but go over it really quickly. It's an Inspiron 530S, so I've worked on actually the 530s before. The S stands for, I believe, slim model or slim line. No, HP uses slimline, but S means for slim, I'm pretty sure. And so they have the desktop variants, and then this, like I said, is a slim version that you can lay down a flat, like a desktop. That's why it has the feet like this, and put a monitor on top of it, which I'm going to actually be using it for. So, actually, when the system came out, I was pretty shocked by the shape it's in. It looks actually pretty brand new. I don't know if camera picks it up really that well, but there is absolutely no scuffs or anything like this. We get these things in a lot. People recycling them, and they work totally fine, but the stock configurations on them, like I'll get to this one in a second, are very, very minimal for what they should be and what they can be. So that's why I'm going to be doing this. So it does have an Intel Core 2 Quad, which is a little bit higher end than most of the ones I've seen before. Most of them I see come with Pentium dual cores or Athlon 64. I believe so. Yeah, Athlon 64 X2s, which are fine, but you don't really have that much of an upgrade path since I don't think they support the Phenoms. So, yeah, it has Vista on it and stuff. So this has a Core 2 Duo E44 4400, I believe. So that's only clocked at 2 gigahertz. It's still a fast chip, and that's not really the limiting factor of this system. It's actually the RAM. So I popped it open, and it actually came stock with two 1 gigabyte sticks of 555 megahertz Samsung DIMMs. I can't remember the exact chip numbers. I believe they were using Hynix memory, so really bad RAM, to be honest. So not to mention this has Windows Vista on it, probably an earlier service pack too, so the system is really bogged down and stuff like that. So when I got the system, it didn't come with the hard drive. The customer who brought it into recycle was kind enough to take the hard drive out. Didn't have the screws for the hard drive. Luckily, we had a pair at work, so I threw those on the hard drive. A 250 gigabyte WD Caviar, to be exact. Threw that in here. That's working excellent for the system. And I haven't installed Windows or anything yet because I wanted to go through the process with you guys. And basically what I'm going to be doing with this, I'm going to be upgrading the Core 2 Duo to either a Core 2 Duo E8400 or a Core 2 Quad Q8200. It really depends. I have the 8200 over here right now. Camera isn't really picking it up that well. It's right here. These are only stock 2.3 gigahertz, so it's really going to come down. It won't really. Okay, there you go. It really is going to come down to if I'm going to be using the system for multi-threaded or single-threaded applications. I might just put this in there for the future proofing ability that a quad core offers. So another thing I'm going to do is I'm going to try and put 6 gigs of RAM in here. When I was at work, I threw two 667 megahertz. Actually, one of them is an 800 megahertz. The other one's a 667 megahertz. DIMMs. I can't remember the exact brand. But the 800 one should clock down to 667 megahertz. And then I have another 4 gig kit with 2 gigs. So this should bring the system up to 6 gigs of RAM, which would be phenomenal. Don't need 8 gigs. 4 gigs I'm a little bit on nowadays, so 6 gigs would be perfect. And then for a video card, this is actually going to be my first time using one of these. This is a Radeon HD 5450, I believe. The only really downside to this card is, first of all, I don't know if it even works, and secondly, if I can get it to focus in there, it's only a 512 megabyte model, but since the system's not going to be used for gaming, that card should perform phenomenally well. So I actually did find a low profile adapter. I don't know if it's going to work on this card specifically. I believe this was for an XFX card. It should work fine, and then I also have the VGA breakout to throw in there. So I'm going to pop open the system right now, guys, and what we'll probably do is install Windows first before doing all the major upgrades, or I'll probably do the upgrades before because I want to update the BIOS and stuff first. So that's what I'm probably going to do, is install Windows. That's the other thing too, is my plan is to install Windows 7 first, partition it off, and then I also want to install Windows Vista Ultimate, since I have a key for that I want to use, and I want to make this my Windows Vista and possibly Windows 7 time capsule, quote unquote. So let's get into that. I'm going to open up the system, make sure everything's fine, possibly install that extra RAM before we install Windows, and then we'll start jumping right into things. Alright, so I got the system on its side right here. I plugged it in. Haven't powered it up yet. I do know it works though, since I powered it on at work. So we have the standby LED on the motherboard. That's working. There's those two DIMMs. Let me see if I can get over here so you guys can see that. Who's the manufacturer on that? ProMOS or something like that. So that's the 667 megahertz DIMM, and then I won't know if you guys can really see it down there, but that's the 800 megahertz DIMM. 800 megahertz, yes. Okay. So yeah, as you can see, there's really not a speck of dust in the system at all. I think there's a cobweb right there, so I better clean that out. I just noticed that with the light on and stuff. But other than that, this actually does have a Delta power supply, which is awesome. Most of the time I see these things with the cheap BezTech power supplies, which I am not a fan of at all. So this is a nice power supply for the system, and it is a 250 watt, which is going to be perfect for the Radeon 5450. And then, like I said, here's that WD 250 gig that I did confirm is good. So, just zoom in on there like that. I don't think you need to see that. I'm going to throw the Windows desk in here. Going to fire it up. I decided I'm going to actually install Windows first before doing any upgrades, because I want to make sure everything's fine and stable, and then update the BIOS before I do anything else like the RAM upgrades, like I said, and the CPU upgrade. So we're going to do that. We're going to partition the hard drive and also install Windows Vista, and then we'll start doing the upgrades. Actually, the only thing I'm probably going to do is install the video card first, since I am going to have to get the drivers for that. So let me throw the low profile bracket on that graphics card, and we'll throw that in there and get Windows installed. So I'll be right back. Alright, so the graphics card in went very nicely. I was having troubles getting it in because the bracket, the clip or whatever for the RAM was down. So I'm going to have to take the graphics card out when I upgrade the RAM later. Not a big deal, but it did fit in there nice and snug. If you guys can really see it there. Sorry, I shut the flap or whatever before I did anything. But I guess you guys can see it from the back. Bracket and stuff fit on. They're different tones of steel or whatever that is. So I am able to use DVI now, which is nice. No more VGA with the horrible video quality. So I'm going to throw the disc in, and let's fire this baby up and see if we can get Windows installed. So I'm going to do that really quickly. Turn off the light here. Very loud, but it did post, and the graphics card works, which is very nice. I didn't actually think it worked. That was a very loud startup, though. Okay. So let's look at the BIOS here really quickly and see what our sensitive information is. Sweet. Memory installed, 2 gigs, running at 667 megahertz. Perfect. That's all I need. Better than 555 megahertz, which I would rather not have. Dual channel, actually awesome. Core 2 Duo E4400 running at 2 gigahertz. So yes, we'll be upgrading that. I have some plans for that CPU. The E4400 should be fun to overclock that little baby a little bit. And this BIOS version is 2007, so it'll be nice to upgrade that, or update that. Okay, hard drive and everything's showing up there. There is a floppy drive in this, so I will be leaving that in there actually. CPU fixture, that's enabled. I'm pretty sure I went through in here. Don't really, removable disk priority, hard disk boot priority. Yeah, I want to boot off the hard drive first. Actually, first boot device, let's change that to hard disk. I want to disable that, and other boot device, leave that enabled. So we just have the hard drive in there. If I want to boot off the CD drive, I'll just go into the boot menu. Video memory size, I can change that down to 8. I don't really care, that doesn't really matter actually, since it'll be disabled. Fixed memory size, leave all that. Initial display, PCI EX slot. Okay. SATA mode, I believe these only support IDE. Sorry if the camera's not pointed directly at the monitor. Okay, so I think that's it. I'm going to throw the disk in here. I'm not going to walk you guys through the whole entire Windows installation. Probably seen it multiple times before. So I'll restart the video once Windows installed, and I'll get the drivers installed also. So I'll get back to you once all of that is done. Alrighty, so I'm back. It took a while actually. It's probably been over an hour or two since I filmed last. So got Windows installed. It turns out I only had my Windows 7 Professional disk, so I had to scrounge around. Luckily, I found a genuine Windows 7 Professional product key. The one was labeled as only 32-bit, but it worked perfectly fine actually on the system. Installed the 64-bit. So I just installed the Radeon HD 5450 driver, and it's restarting right now, so you guys will be seeing it real time with the first boot with the proper graphics driver installed. I'm going to install some of the other drivers, but as of right now, all of the basic ones and stuff are installed, so we're fine there in terms of that. So I'm going to let it boot up here. I don't know what boot times are like really, but they are not slow at all. This hard drive is actually decently fast for what it is, so I'm pretty happy with that. Update registry. So let's see if that graphics driver worked. Yes, it did. Awesome. Oh, it's because I have Windows Update installed, so it's probably going to start installing a bunch of updates to bogging down the system. So I got to install that, and then I'm probably going to run GWX since I do not want to upgrade this system to Windows 10. If I want to put Windows 10 on it, I'll make a separate partition for that, but want to keep 7 and Vista also on here, which I do also need to do, create that other partition to install it on. Awesome. So boot times are not bad. Like I said, this system is going to be used for, I do use Driver Pack Solutions, so I use that to install the video driver. Great program, and it's approved definitely. You just got to make sure you don't select the wrong things to install and stuff like that. So alright, so let's change that theme really quickly. I'm going to get a custom background and everything later, but let's just do the normal Windows 7 one since that one looks nice. And let's go here, System Properties. I'll probably run the Experience Index or whatever, but let's look in here. Okay, so we have the Radeon HD 5450 installed. Awesome. And where's that? Yeah, CPU is that E4400. So we're going to get that changed out. Also that 2 gigs of RAM. So let's actually run the system rating. See how much it changes once we upgrade the RAM in the CPU. We should get a decent boost from that. I did a little bit more thinking. I'm probably just going to put the Core 2 Duo E8400 in here because I don't want the... I think the Core 2 Quad will be putting out too much heat, and I don't want that within the system. So I'll take a look at it a bit more. If this thing supports it or whatever, I'll probably throw the Core 2 Quad in. I guess you guys will see what I end up deciding. I really actually do want to put the Core 2 Quad in here, so I think that's what I'm going to end up doing. It's a cooler running chip also. It's one of the newer 45 nanometer Core 2 Quads, so that should be nice. Also, the extra 2 cores will be nice instead of just having a single dual core with higher speed, single thread performance. So I'll just ramble on a bit more with that probably, but we'll see what happens. So, Windows System Assignment Tool stopped working. That's the first time I've seen that. That's not good. I don't know what could be causing that. Once I get the new RAM, cannot be computed. Let's try running that again. See what happens. You guys don't have to sit through this. I'm actually just going to end the video, or not the entire video. I'm going to end this section right now, see what the deal is with this. And then I'm also going to get the RAM, and what else was I going to get? I was going to get the BIOS update and stuff like that, so I'll restart the footage right before I update the BIOS. So if it fails, you guys can watch that happen. So I will be right back. Alright guys, so I haven't updated the BIOS yet. I actually installed the memory first. Mainly because even with the clean installation, Windows was maxing out the 2 gigs of RAM, no problem, because Windows Update was running in the background. I tried to run Internet Explorer to download drivers and the BIOS update and stuff like that. Absolutely a pain. So I decided to install the RAM first, and to my surprise, it actually worked totally fine. We're getting 667 megahertz, and we have a total of 6 gigabytes of RAM. So I am super happy how that worked out. So I'm going to boot it into Windows here, get the BIOS downloaded and installed, and to add to the fun of everything, it is actually raining and thundering outside, so we're going to do a BIOS update in the bad weather right now, so don't want to try and show too much there, but we're going to break all the rules of computing and update a BIOS during bad weather, so let's hope everything doesn't mess up, and I'm going to resume the video right before I do the BIOS update. Okay, so I got the BIOS file here, but one downside, actually, I booted up Windows. I should have expected this, actually, but I'm actually kind of surprised because I didn't know the G33 chipset was like this, but we're only able to use 3.25 gigs of that video RAM, or of the RAM. So I don't think a BIOS update is going to fix that. I guess we'll see. But what I'll end up doing, I'll just take those two 1 gig sticks out. And this RAM actually might be 800 megahertz. So worst case scenario, we only have 4 gigs of RAM, but it'll be running at a higher clock speed. So I'm not all that worried about this. I highly doubt the system's going to see more than 3 gigs, 4 gigs usage of RAM. So let's just update the BIOS really quickly as the rain starts to come down harder. I don't know if you guys can hear that if I stop talking or not. We do have this cat here. It's getting pretty nasty out, but I'll turn that light off. I'll keep my mouth shut while we do the BIOS update so you guys can hear everything outside. Okay, so we have 1.0.3 and we're going to upgrade it to 1.0.18. Awesome. Do not power off. Really? Don't power off? Come on. Nah, I'm not going to ruin a system like that. I just thought about it, though. I actually have a motherboard from a Vostro 400 that would actually fit right in there because it is the exact same I/O layout and board layout as it. So maybe I'll throw that motherboard in here so we can get that 6 gigs of video, or why I keep saying video RAM also, guys. Sorry, I can't speak today. We'll see. This should work fine. If I do need more RAM in the future, I do have that motherboard, and I can throw that in here. And that might actually be a much better motherboard because it also supports a wider range of CPUs, actually. So, update successful. Awesome. So let's reboot. I don't think they added any new features into the BIOS. I guess we'll see. Watch they add HCI support. I don't think that's possible, but then I'd have to reinstall Windows. But if it's for HCI, I'm more than down to do that. Oh, wow. So it changed the boot screen. Awesome. Definitely a big update from the old one. This is all still the same in here, though. But they did change that look of that screen, which is a lot nicer, I think, in my opinion. Not a big deal, but nerding over that's pretty nice. Advanced chipset features. Okay. No, I'm not going to change that. It's great. Peripherals, SATA mode. I doubt they added HDMI. Yep. Still the same there, but we do have RAID. Hear the thunder out there. Oh, that's awesome. I didn't expect them to update it to that newer splash screen. I'll have to check with the Vostro 400 and see if they did that. Again, boot times aren't that bad. Just need to throw that CPU in there, partition the hard drive, and then we'll get Windows Vista installed. This is going to be a long video. This is pretty much the tail end of everything. So if you guys don't feel like watching anymore, I totally understand that, but we will be installing Windows Vista for the remainder, and also installing most likely the Core 2 Quad or a Core 2 Duo, depending on what I decide to scrounge up out of the drawer of CPUs. Okay, let's look. Wow. I'm in absolute shock actually right now. You guys are witnessing this with me too. 6 gigs of RAM. So a BIOS update does actually fix that. Wow, that is... I'm actually very well dumbfounded by that. So doesn't look like I'm going to be having to change the motherboard after all, and that makes me want to put the Core 2 Quad in there even more. So I also assume that added CPU support. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to pop the casing off through the Core 2 Quad in there, and we're going to see if that sucker boots once I get it installed. Alrighty, so I tested the Q8200, no go there, but the Core 2 Duo E8400 popped right in, and it's working like a champ so far. So that's pretty much it for this video. I'm gonna boot it up into Windows still and all that stuff, run some benchmarks and all that, but I don't think I'm gonna run you guys through the Windows Vista installation. Pretty much that's just gonna be the same as installing Windows 7, except it's Windows Vista, of course. I'll post a link to a thread that might have pictures and stuff of the system when it's done with Windows Vista installed. I'll also get some nice pictures of it too before I post it on there. So like I said, here's the Core 2 Duo E8400, and then we have that 6 gigabytes of RAM. So while this is booting, I just want to talk about, basically what we did here was take a system that came stock with a slower Core 2 Duo E4400, 2 gigabytes of RAM, and no hard drive. What else? Stock onboard Intel G33 graphics, I believe. So very bare bones system like the Inspiron line is known for. The Inspiron line back in the 2000s, especially this time period, the Inspiron 530s, for example, I absolutely love them, mainly because even back in 2007, they were really amazing for the price for what you were paying for them. I believe this system ran for around $500 to $600. With this configuration, I'm assuming it's one of the more expensive models, but you could get them, and the only really downside to them was the fact that they didn't have a dedicated graphics card. So basically this is we're able to showcase in this video by upgrading them, throwing a newer video card, or a better video card in there, more RAM, and just upgrading the CPU even. We were able to get a pretty amazing system out of this. So basically saving a system from the trash that's more than usable by nowadays standards. There we go, we got our Core 2 Duo E8400, and basically maxing it out to a point where it's more than usable for the average user, and even then a little bit, it's a powerhouse, to be honest. You could easily run even some basic 3D gaming and stuff on here. So very happy with the system overall. I'm going to try and make it my time capsule slash work system. So thank you guys very much for joining me throughout this journey of installing and messing with the computer. I absolutely love working on these older Dell systems, especially 755. And I will catch you guys, like I said, in the next video, which I plan on doing some skit videos. I am not sure yet, but I also have some stuff. If you guys have stuck around this long, I'll show you guys that as a little teaser, I guess. I might do a video on that, I might not. If not, I'll do something slide on it. So guys, thank you very much for sticking through if you did the video, and if so, you just got that hint there of a possible future video, and I will catch you guys in the next one.